Comparisons are just what they sound like, words and phrases that are used to compare different items. In English, comparisons can be formed by taking an adjective such as tall and adding er to the end. So we could say he is taller than her, and so forth. Other comparisons in English might be he is not as tall as I am, or he is as tall as I am. In Spanish, comparisons are a little bit different. Instead of saying something like he is taller than her, we would say he is more tall than. It's going to be the equivalent of that we use in Spanish. Or if the person were less tall, that's what we would say, less tall than. Or if they were the same height, it would be something like saying the same tall as, or the same height as, more or less. So keep in mind those differences between the English method and the Spanish method as we take a look at what we have in Spanish. So to say more than, we use the phrase más que with the appropriate adjective in the middle. In the example that we've been using, taller or more tall than, we would use the adjective alto, which means tall. Now since this is an adjective, we do have to follow the rules for adjectives. We have to make sure that it agrees in number and gender with the person or people that it describes. So let's take a couple of looks, or let's take a look at a couple of examples of that. Here we've got a couple of examples. Eduardo es más alto que yo. Since Eduardo is singular and masculine, we use the singular masculine form of our adjective. Elena es más alta que yo. Since we're referring to Elena, she is feminine singular, we're going to go with the feminine singular form of the adjective. If we were referring to more than one person here, we would of course go with the plural form of the adjective, and again make it masculine or feminine depending on who we were describing. To talk about having less of a quality, we use the phrase menos and an adjective que. So let's look at less boring than. The adjective for boring is aburrido. So to say less boring, we would say menos aburrido que. Again, we do have to pay attention to who is being described by this adjective, and we have to use the appropriate form of the adjective based on that. Here's an example. Ellos son menos aburridos que la profesora. Since aburrido refers to ellos, we have to make it agree in number and gender, so it is plural and masculine, just like ellos, which it is describing. And if we're comparing two people or groups of people or whatever, and we're saying that they are the same, we use the phrase tan, adjective como. So for instance, if we wanted to say you are as handsome as Diego, we would say tú eres tan guapo como Diego. As always, with our adjective, we do have to make sure that it agrees in number and gender with the person that it refers to. So again, to summarize, here we are. More something than someone else, we use más blank que. Less something than menos blank que. And as something as someone, tan blank que. In the blank, we always put an adjective, and we always make sure that the adjective agrees in number and in gender with the person or people that it describes.